I would like an orchestral, like a children's choir
version.
Not children's. You know what's funny is I realize most of our clips are about pedophilia. Most of the clips I put up on Instagram are like, you see these little girls,
right?
So I'm gonna try to give it a rest.
You want a kids bop version?
I think I don't want a kid. I want like I want like it's a sad movie. It's an action movie.
Oh, the Peanuts Christmas song.
Yes. They just and like the Joker. They did the Kurt Cobain, whatever his band was called.
Never heard of him. Hi.
Hello. We'll get into it. We got some songs from. So we used to have the scratch with the How You Feel, Neal, but it felt a little Jack Johnson-y to me.
Sorry, which one?
On the podcast, it would be like Wiggy Wiggy, How You Feeling? I don't like the Wiggy Wiggy.
How you feel?
Yeah, I don't. It just felt too
Jack Johnson.
It felt. It just felt like something about it just didn't. I don't like the scratching.
Okay.
As we all know, my gift is to of course, is to be hip hop adjacent without trying to do it. You can speak the King's English and still have relationships with the black people.
Okay.
Eric Johnson, the great Eric Johnson, of course,
EJ.
broke us off some transition songs. And I have one that I prefer, but let's see what you think.
What?
One more time. It's called Y'all Hear About This Shit. It's a little too produced is the problem.
I can't hear it.
I know, you're not going to hear it. That's what it is.
Okay.
All right, go to the next one. Next on the docket. Next on the docket.
That one's cool. The background's too loud.
He overdid it.
What else you got?
That one's pretty good.
I like What Else You Got.
What else you got? Moving on.
That's good.
Moving on to my favorite.
Okay.
What else is happening?
What else is happening? It's too much. We know that.
They're starting to turn.
Moving on.
Starting to turn into when you get a computer program like back in the day, but it's like they're also like a Casio. What?
I got it.
They're too similar.
Are
in
they
the wrong way? Like the good ones are good, but they're like pew, pew, pew.
Well,
like
we just need to pick one, and we're picking Moving On.
Moving on.
Great.
Beautiful. It's got a 70s feel.
Yeah.
Baby, come back.
You can blame it all on me,
but I was something.
Oh well.
I turned the air conditioning off, and it won't turn off. But we'll see what happens. All right, great. Let's move on. Do you hear about Breonna Taylor? You hear about this Breonna Taylor? Well,
of course.
She.
Okay.
Yep, I was a little. I thought it was
boy.
insensitive, and then there are roaches in the. Roaches termites.
In the precinct.
Well, they made it roaches in the termites.
I do feel like when I see a cop car, I have the same reaction when I see a cockroach. Not like to completely insult cops, but just kind of like, fuck.
Yeah, I did it.
When I was driving, like when I drive.
Yeah.
Not when I see a cop. It just feels like, fuck.
I'm never
what do I do?
glad. I'm white, and I'm very rarely glad to see a cop.
Yeah.
And I'm like I'm their guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you're fine.
I'm fucking. But I don't even like. I don't like being watched anyway, unless I control it. Guys, go on YouTube.com. We've got. If you don't like this setup in terms of cameras, we can't help you because Ken just left. Ken sang the DP, and it took 2 hours, and he brought a guy. So, so one cop got like some ticky-tack charge.
Yeah, well, they all got fired, I think, right?
I don't know.
I think they're all fired, but no charges brought against them. So then the one guy
the one guy.
One guy just got charges for wanton.
It was wanton.
It was a wanton shooting. And so it just basically, they're only charging the bullet for the bullets that hit the neighbor's apartment.
Which is basically like, it's like a vandalism charge.
Yeah.
In
it's
essence.
like, you
Oh, man.
reckless. The neighbors were white. I don't know if that matters.
It always matters. Somebody asked, if Ken asked what we thought and if we blame the cops. Or do we blame the system? I'm going to go 100% system, 65% cops.
Fully agree.
Because the system, the fact that there's no knock warrants, apparently there aren't anymore. They finally canceled them. In Louisville or anywhere.
Kentucky, yeah.
Why are there no knock warrants anywhere?
There are theories that, okay, well, people selling drugs, they have cameras. So we just will we'll ambush them so they can't get rid of evidence stuff. But the risk reward seems so... Because the origins of all of this is war on drugs, like you were saying before off camera.
Yes, it's all war on drugs. So it's not... They didn't have cameras. They weren't...
How badly do you want... do you want to endanger everybody for the one preserve drug evidence? I mean, I don't know. If it's like some large RICO case or some international shit, that's one thing. But even when you read it, it's like tens of thousands of dollars of drugs and money, and that's
in the average no knock.
Or just even in this case, it's not a lot of money.
But this case, her ex-boyfriend, who's already locked up. So
yeah, he's in custody.
I guess she got something mailed there, or he got something mailed there at one to her house.
He just sold drugs. He used her address to ship drugs through the postal service.
Okay.
At some point.
Yeah.
But he's been in and out of jail. I mean, whatever. It's not so much like he's an innocent character and they're framing him. No,
I believe that the guy sold drugs. That checks out. But why a year? He's been locked up. They haven't been together for
a while,
a year or two.
The problem is that I think they towed his car, and on his bank statements, it's her address. But the thing is, there's just little things. There's little things that the police leaked to say, see, this is why we went. But regardless of all of it, it doesn't, when you look at even the most damning stuff, I looked at the report, the worst of the worst doesn't justify any of it. Doesn't justify the no-knock warrant. They knew he didn't live there. They knew all these things, They just wanted to go collect evidence, I guess. That was kind of the point.
Didn't they already have a case against him, though?
They already had a case against him.
Why? How much more evidence do they want? And he had a car.
Right.
We'll have this man had a car when he would drive around.
Right. The point is, what is worth someone's life? Is it worth all of this nonsense to collect evidence that may be still at this previous place of residence?
Yes.
I don't know. Is it worth it? It seems not worth it at all. And something about it just seems so... We're making this case, Breonna Taylor's case, is obviously we're talking about it and blah, blah, blah. But it just feels like this has happened a million times. This is nothing new.
Yes. It's the law. So that's the laws are fucking stupid. And where I blame the cops is working in a corrupt system, happily, or without, whether they're happy or not, they certainly aren't looking to do anything about it.
No one's like, we gotta stop. This is unfair to everyone.
Yeah. There's none of that. And you're not going to believe this. They forgot to turn on their cameras.
No, they have them. Did you see the video footage that was leaked?
No, I just read in the New Yorker that they had footage from when the backup cops came.
The Vice footage that leaked is after the shooting. So their policy is that if you're involved in a shooting, you can't be at the crime scene while people come to investigate everything.
Right.
So the footage shows all... I was laughing at Neal doing something. This isn't funny at all.
Don't worry, it's not for audio. I do all visual comedy now,
Okay,
guys. I just drank something. It was funny. It was pretty funny.
So they're all there. The guys who shot Breonna Taylor and the 2 other cops.
They should have been gone.
They should have been gone.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, are these shrapnels ours or his? No, those look like ours. Oh, well, we should wait. Is anybody like? I think one of the cops walks in to the apartment's like, anybody dead in here?
Yeah.
I can't tell if that was a joke.
Well, it certainly wasn't protocol.
It just seems like this is what happens when no one's saying Breonna's ex is some amazing guy, but you shouldn't have to be completely innocent to get justice in this country. That's the weirdest thing, especially if you're black.
But she was completely innocent.
She's completely innocent.
Yeah, so
But I just feel like people on like
so you can't even know a criminal now without your life your odds of living reduced greatly. And this is one of these things where she probably didn't know what address he put down.
No,
for the car.
He kept giving her number as his number sometimes.
Yeah, because he's a fucking dirtbag criminal. That's what those guys do. Like, that's not on her.
None of this is on her. She should be alive. And no-knock warrants are weird. And it's just, it goes into this police culture of us versus them, cops and robbers. No, these are people.
And the other thing that people forget about cops a lot is they're fucking meatheads. They're dumb meathead, giant fucking fat-headed, bad haircut having, no sideburn rocking, bad facial hair motherfuckers. They're not smart, and then they get hopped up.
Yeah.
Before these situations, they act like it's a fucking Under Armour commercial, and they're a high school football team. They're like, "Arr!" And so they want to shoot people. They do.
Yeah.
They hear a gun. First of all, they didn't announce themselves. So just there,
a battering ram.
So right there, this is against the law. What you did is against the law. They got 12. They asked 12 neighbors if they announced themselves. 12 said no. They got the 13th neighbor to say yes after repeating the question multiple times. So they coerced that. They didn't have their cameras turned on. And if you're not doing anything wrong, don't turn your camera off. Okay? So what they're basically saying, because you might have cameras, we need no-knock warrants.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start doing no-knock warrants at police precincts because clearly these fucking maniacs don't understand that what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I know an old man.
That's an old man phrase if I've ever heard it.
But then, so if now it's essentially that the cops they're just unchecked for so long.
Yes.
Who checks the cops? I think if you...
And that DA, who's just like a classic...
I have so many words for him.
There are times where I wish I were black so I could say certain things.
Neal?
But you know what I think? You know what part of the plantation he lives in.
Stop.
If we're talking about plantation stuff, he's not in the field. I'll say that.
He is
no longer in the field.
He is.
Can I say that as a white person? What if I were going to predict what part of the plantation a person would work in?
I think only to hated black people. No one's going to take a stand against it. You say that to Candace Owens, they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, how dare you?
But I don't. You maybe don't get too liberal with that.
He's just a
field placement.
He's a house worker.
Okay, shut up.
He's closer he's managerial.
Estate manager?
Yeah, he's an estate manager. That's right.
No, there's something but it's the same with Jackie Lacey. It's the same with Kamala Harris when she was the DA for California. I mean, do we think this one black guy is going to rise up?
Well, yes. And there's not like white DAs.
Does he want to die?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Kentucky.
And you're dealing with lunkheads, and you're dealing with the most self-pitying lunkheads, as we've discussed multiple times. And so they'll do the thing that they do to Blasio, where they turn their back on him when he enters the room.
Dude,
and he very much works in tandem with them. So you want cops you want to have a relationship with cops. If you're the DA, you want to believe them.
Yeah. But the problem is I just don't understand why, hey, if this is the protocol and this is the policy, when you break it and we can't prove what happened because your body cam is off, then you should be immediately liable.
By the way, the people in the state of Kentucky have to pay $12 million. I'm assuming that's the state.
Or it's probably the municipal insurance.
Yes, somehow. Or
they'll pay a portion of it.
The good people are paying for it.
It's just not surprising at all.
It's fucking surprising.
The fact that
I'm surprised they even got $12 million. Like, that's surprising.
That is the most surprising. I don't get how killing someone is not you're not indicting them on that, but you're indicting an officer based on not killing the neighbor, like almost killing the neighbor. Like, did you read why that was?
Yeah, I didn't get into the weeds on it. Yes, because once the new boyfriend's gun goes off,
now everybody,
then it's all every man for himself. But it's an apartment building, so
right.
You kind of got to be mindful of. There was just a lot of like reading the New York article. There was just a lot of shit that her sister lived there. They didn't know she had a sister. They didn't know she lived there.
Yeah.
They didn't plan. They didn't do like a layout. It's just a bunch of lunkheads running through a banner at the beginning of a football game.
Yeah.
That's what
that's his address. Go there. Write it. Right.
And then they all run through the banner. But meanwhile, it's like those videos where someone's standing in front of the banner and then they get knocked over.
It doesn't break.
Like it breaks, but there's like a little kid who lost a Frisbee and it happens to be. So you've got to be, if you're going to do an invasion,
yeah,
get some schematics, you fucking dummies.
Yeah.
You fucking lunkheads.
And then it's a lot of covering up. Like apparently like the ballistics, FBI came in and did their own investigation. And their ballistics say that the new boyfriend did not shoot first. And so it's just all this shit.
That's the other thing. I don't know if somebody did a joke where he said he was talking to a member of LAPD. And the LAPD guy said the guy had a stalker.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know if he does Right. I don't know if he's done it on television yet. But
that's like years ago.
Yeah. Dane did a bit about.
Yeah, that bit's crazy.
That bit's fucking great. But it was about
very
how
illuminating.
Dane Cook had a stalker. And he had a fucking really good bit, which was
the whole bit's great. He
was like, stalker now? I get 10 years ago. Why are you stalking me now? Which is fucking funny. I always said Dane was funny. And he talked to an LAPD guy who said, get a gun, get a shotgun.
Yeah.
She steps onto your property, blast her. After you've blasted her, fire another shot into the ceiling. You will then afterwards say that that was your warning shot. LAPD told him that.
Yeah.
So that's what you're dealing with, where the cops are not gonna fucking tell that they don't. Telling the truth makes you an outlier.
Yeah.
In from what I can tell in the police force. So it's just wrong. It's just everything about it's wrong.
Yeah.
And it is it's just a tragedy. It's just a fucking tragedy. Yeah. Charles Barkley got in trouble because he said,
okay, Charles Barkley he's always giving like, what is it in the Supreme Court? The dissent. Like he's always like, well,
but he's not like a nosy twat about it. He's like, look, let me do his reading.
Okay.
First of all, we do have to take into account that her boyfriend did shoot at the cop and shot a cop. So like I said, even though I'm really sorry she lost her life, this is going to seem like I'm doing a
I'm doing a black
Keenan
voice.
doing Barkley.
Just do it. Do Neal.
It's not as much fun. I do a good Barkley. I'm choking up. I'm choking. You gotta get out of here. You can stop listening. First of all, that's a good Barkley. I don't think we can just say that that we can put this in the same situation with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery. I just don't believe that. Okay, so then there was lots of.
But like, okay, go. Sorry.
Well, he nailed it. Does it need to be said? No.
He nailed it. He nailed it.
But does it need to be said? No. But does he believe it? Yes. Does it? Does he? I actually didn't know the boyfriend shot. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. So then I looked up. I kind of didn't know. I just thought it was like cops. They just started blasting.
No, they shot, but they had like some, like of the 60 or 20, 30. I don't know how many shots were shot total, but
yeah.
It was majority.
30,
I mean, there's 3 versus 1 guy, but he just heard a battering ram. Like he just heard someone kicked in his door.
Yeah, no. It's not like they
shooting.
were undercover and they blasted with a fucking. I've had drunk people try to open my front door.
Yeah.
First of all, Keith's a nice guy. Keith, my dog Keith, does not play that shit.
Really?
It's one of those things where he'll get fucking furious when someone tries to open the door, and then it's the thing where 10 minutes later he's still on some like.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not over it. Dude, Keith's that drunk guy at the bar that can't let go the shoe scuff.
He'll play. There's a couple things he does not play, and that's one of them.
Scuffing up his Stacey Adams in the club. Keith don't play.
And
Keith's literally
and I gotta be
downstairs listening to you do that right now. Like,
yeah, like what's he talking? Oh yeah, he's talking about when people try to come in the middle of the night. So you can't get mad at the boyfriend for what should he have done?
It sounded like someone was.
Yes, it's if you're undercover and you don't say who you are, I'm not going to be like, oh, come on in. What can I help you guys with?
Right.
With your battering ram. You guys must be from Uber Eats. What with your you just
is that my sweet green?
You can just leave it out in front, guys. Next time, I'll put it in the notes.
Contactless delivery.
Yes, I'll put it in the comments when I order.
Or as Neal likes to say, bring me my sauce. Your tip depends on it.
Bring me my sauce. Yes, your tip depends on it.
It's my favorite story, by the way.
It's the best.
It's so funny because,
bro, we don't play it. It's a story. I think it's one of the first episodes, or maybe it was before we did the podcast.
It was way before. Tell them, please.
I got delivery from Takoya, a place I really like in LA. It's like it's Mexican. It's like not shitty. It's a lot of vegetables. It's organic, and it's a lot of vegan shit. And I wrote extra vegan crema, which is cream. It's Spanish for cream. And you idiot, you uncultured idiot. That's Spanish for cream. And I wrote something. Your tip depends on it.
It's because the last few times they delivered it, they never. You said extra sauce, and they didn't do it.
Yes, they didn't. So I said your tip depends on it.
So when he came to the door,
when the guy came to the door, he brings it. He's like, "Hey, you know what you wrote here? Nah, that's no good." So the guy kind of berated me, like not cool, and it's like, sorry for saying out loud. That's what pulling a Neal is.
Yeah,
I nailed it.
You nailed it.
I nailed it. You say.
I would argue that's not. You needed to do that to get what you wanted.
Their attention. Yes.
Yeah. We don't need.
But I didn't need to say it. I could have said it. The tonal Neal, is a different guy. Now he handles it a totally different way.
Yeah.
But back then, I thought let's take the bull by the horns and just let's approach this directly. They weren't having it, but it's like the way tips are extortion. The whole thing is just extortion. It's I'm just blackmailing you with money to do a better job than you normally would.
I didn't see it as extortion. I mean, it's
an understanding. It's
flying.
Agreed to distortion.
It's flying. Do you want more legroom? You're gonna have to pay for it. If you want to sit in the back and just get to where you're going, go, fine. Like, but don't expect
But
much.
it's not. I think flying is not the right analogy because it's subtler than that. Flying, you have to pay extra to get an extra side of beans or whatever.
Well, if you're in the right setting, it's implied that like, hey, we tip here. Yeah, of course you can just not tip everywhere.
But the point of tipping is,
yeah, it's like, there's an understanding. I'm going to give you a good service, and you're going to give me.
And you're good, right? We don't.
But it's like flying. If you go to Europe or anywhere else in the fucking world except for Asia, they're happy. But everywhere else is like, fuck you. I'm getting paid a livable wage. I don't need your tip. And it's not nice.
It isn't. Well, the system is give me good service or the tip gets it. Basically, I'm literally holding the money hostage.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, so what do you want to do? Extra vegan crema? I just said it. I shouldn't have said it, I guess. But God forbid. That's what makes me and Charles Barkley two of the top broadcasters in the country.
This is the problem with Charles Barkley. Every time there's something controversial, a week later, there's a fucking Charles Barkley quote.
That's what's great about him.
Like, but
he doesn't know any better.
I know, but isn't?
And he just has a very unique experience.
Sorry, when he was doing Weight Watchers and then on the mic was like, it's fake. And was like, I meant it was easy money. I'm like, you're a bullshitter.
He said what was fake.
So he was the spokesperson for Weight Watchers. This is a
different thing.
He was the spokesperson for Weight Watchers.
Yes.
And then he was caught on the hot mic and they're like, oh, so that Weight Watchers thing? He was like, yeah, it's bullshit. And then when it came out, he was like, I was saying it's such easy money. That's how bullshit it is. Like, I can't believe how easy the money is.
Uh-huh.
And after that, I'm like, you're a bullshitter. Like, I get it. We can all, I'm not saying now he cannot make a statement.
Guys, speaking of easy money, Tuft and Needle mattress. Don't have a code. Just go there and get yourself a mattress.
The point is that it's like, we're all bullshitters. So like, don't peddle your...
He has a very unique experience, which is grew up poor in the middle of fucking nowhere and basically escaped via his talent, moved to Philly, was always like talk about a guy that just was never fit the type. Like he was too fat to be good at basketball. He figured that out. Okay. And I don't think anything he says is premeditated. It's like where we were talking about him a couple weeks ago, where he said he never brings up race when he's insulting somebody, which I believe him. He just has a weird. But then he'll say, I don't trust anybody who doesn't eat meat and turns down a blowjob. Like he'll just say shit that's
funny and charming.
That's funny and true. Like, and the thing with guys like him and Shaq was an auxiliary policeman. Like, yeah. He loves cops. His father was in the military. His biological didn't bother. We all know that. That's from his song. Philip is my father, because my biological didn't bother. He was a rapper in the early 90s. I happened to be around back then. That's I believe the song is.
What is it?
Fushneckens.
Yeah, no, Shaq Fu.
Yes. He was with Fushneckens. So Fushneckens is his schnack. He has the schnacks. So I'm not. Those guys are not. They are a little bit. They're a little bit Republican.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, and I get it. It's fine. I think everyone should be able to speak. I mean, I'm not going to say. It sounds like I'm saying shut up and talk about sports, but no, that's fine. We can. But I just find it. It's like back when I used to use Facebook. There's one dude in high school, and his parents were really more right wing, and I would anytime he would never say anything about anything I ever posted, except when I posted about Oscar Grant, which was the black kid that got killed on the BART, and then it was like typing away, and I just felt like you only come and chime in and chirp in when you wanna be like devil's advocate in a really controversial way. Not like, yo, let's talk about everything. It's really and then when the cop got manslaughter or whatever, he chimed in again. Like all these, he always wanted to show the like right wing opinion. That's fine, but it just feels weird when on cue you can be like not saying anything about anything. Is Charles Barkley making statements
I can tell you
about what is fucked up, not necessarily these.
I think what he was saying was this isn't as black and white as everybody makes it seem. It's not a gimme, it's not a slam dunk, it's not a open and shut case.
That's the funny part though. That's what people want. They want a Ahmaud Arbery. The most innocent. I'm an innocent black person. Like, oh my God. And then I got shot.
People don't like nuance. I have this written down for Trump later. We'll get to it, but I don't. Yeah, people want a fucking. They want
gentle,
fucking Perry Mason, like
a whodunit.
And the weapon was on you. Check your shoe. What?
Right. But
that's what they want. They want a fucking 40-minute digestible.
We have to normalize. The reason why I don't like it is because it's like, no, let's normalize like right.
I just put out a best of luck banner if you want to break through that.
Okay, the cops are I'm going to tell you what we have to normalize. You tell me if it's best of luck or not. We have to normalize black and brown people maybe not being the most innocent, but still not deserving to be killed, and not comparing them to our one Wikipedia example of like, he did nothing. He was gentle. He was going on a run. He was attractive. It's like, no, not everybody's like that. Some people are dickheads and they still don't deserve to die because they're black.
Absolutely. But as I
shit like
believe
that
I said on this award-winning podcast,
this very podcast,
white people consider black people, everything black people do is at a minimum is trespassing. Minimum.
No matter what.
By being sentient, you're trespassing on white existence. So, well, I shot, yes, because she was in Kentucky.
It's true.
Do you understand that?
Literally.
Do you understand how upsetting that is to a white man? For a non-white person to be in Kentucky, it's fucking terrifying. Yeah. So even though she's asleep at home, it's all trespassing. So the fact that she dated a drug dealer is just corroborating evidence. And
we've all dated a drug dealer.
Speak for yourself.
I have. He used to pay for burritos with checks, and I loved him.
I mean, people would say that I wrote a movie about drugs, and I'd say, you shut your mouth.
It was so good.
Someone would say that I encourage drug use. I actually had a thought the other day about that. My dad used to not let us watch Miami Vice because he said it glamorized drug use. I think he just read a Newsweek article about it.
Did it? Weren't they fighting?
As a kid, I was 10 or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I don't fucking want to watch it, but I should have talked about it during the rules. But
the rules.
He's right. TV glamorizes everything.
Everything's being glamorized.
Everything it turns its gaze upon is glamorized, other than like perp walks and shit like that. Which is just looks gross because it's all concrete. The shot is gross. It's like barred. Open the door. Here comes a perp, and he's got his hands behind his back.
But even then, sometimes perp walks they make the actor look kind of badass.
No. I'm not talking about the actor. I'm talking about I'm talking about the news at this point.
Oh, the news. Okay.
Perp walks. Tupac had some of the greatest perp walks of all time. It can be done. Right. When Tupac did the George Jefferson. Coming out like that's one of the great. I mean, that's on my top.
You got to start walking like that 4. Up to the stage.
I walk like John Gotti, where I come out, where you put your hands out like this and you act like you got a big gut. But no, the Tupac's perp walk's fantastic. So shout out to my dad and R.I.P. And sorry about 3 mics.
Should I leave?
No. You know what I was gonna also say is what happens to someone like me, and it happens to you too, when you play why a person plays devil's advocate is because you resent groupthink and you resent the fact that no one mentions in certain, when they have the Breonna Taylor conversation, no one mentions that her boyfriend did fire his gun. So if you're Charles Barkley, that
they mention it.
Yeah, as someone who was like
that's part of the thing. No?
As someone, I didn't know it. For instance,
the problem is that they're saying the problem is not that he shot. They're saying that he shot first and they responded.
Of course, which could be false, whatever. But if you're Charles Barkley, the only time I play devil's advocate is when. Not the only time I play devil's advocate is when I'm awake. Is when there's a willful ignorance of a certain fact.
Right.
That just makes me fucking go like, what are you talking about?
Are we watching the same thing?
Yes, it just
people?
makes you,
right.
And like everyone's like, yeah, and it's right. And you're like, what are you fucking talking about? Most of stand-up is like, what?
Right.
What are you talking about? I try to pick things that aren't going to make people hate me, but it's mostly like, nature's healing. No, it's not.
Right.
Nature's not healing. I like to do a joke about nature because it's like, shut the fuck. You're lying to fit this narrative that is demonstrably bullshit.
But the problem is that you're devil's advocate. You guys are similar in that you do you have the same outlook on telling your opinion.
Yeah.
But I feel like this kind of opinion, rhetoric, or whatever, it does take away from the fact that it's completely unjust. And you're just really slicing, well, we shouldn't, compare things. So I feel like you do take up for him because it's like, look, I get him in a lot of ways because you guys are similar. But this hill is like, it's problematic because we want Ahmaud, like the white world wants Ahmaud Arbery to die. That's what we want. We want it to be
we
like.
We don't want him to die. We want it to be open.
We want it to be
that clear.
So evil. Look at those evil whites.
He was exercising.
Those are no white people are like that. They had guns, vigilantes.
Yeah.
He was so gentle like that. Everybody falls on the same side.
It's a civil rights movie. Ahmaud Arbery is a scene. It's a poorly shot scene from a civil rights movie.
Yeah, like what is it? Time to Kill.
Yeah, any one of those movies. Or I mean, it's Forrest Gump basically.
Yeah. So
including a truck
and
do you know
running.
What I mean? Yes. So I'm with you. I mean, the silent exec producer Chris Rock says he's the silent EP of the show.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That Republicans lie and Democrats just omit facts, which is like that's so. Barkley sees that and he's like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
First of all, see what a good impression. People think that might be
good.
One of Will's drops. First of all, I guess they $12 million. I don't. It's like not. Like, oh, you know what? What I thought I had, which is in terms of protests.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
I thought of an idea for that black people could use. It's not going to work because you're up against white people and they're
losing game.
Yeah. But if instead of saying we're marching for Breonna Taylor, it was that we're marching for our freedoms. Freedoms. Yeah. White people.
Multiple.
That's the white bat signal is freedoms because it's vague and guns. And freedoms, they almost, if black people said, no, we're trying to get freedoms, I think even the most racist white people would be like,
freedoms.
They always pluralize it.
Freedom.
Our freedoms. No, they always pluralize freedoms. Like fucking a white march, we're here for freedoms.
Freedoms.
They're not freedom. Freedoms is like guns and no mask. There's a litany of freedoms. And, Cool Ranch freedoms is what white people are really about.
I love Doritos.
I haven't had a Dorito. What? I haven't had a Dorito. I literally haven't had a Dorito probably since the early 90s.
A Cool Ranch just reminds me of being high in high school.
Yeah, me too. Me and me too, and also the entire Earth. So try substituting. We're marching.
Did you
for
guys
Breonna
get
Taylor,
that?
and just say
I'll tell the
freedoms.
Wednesday march.
Yeah, please. We'll put in one of those hot.
Drops.
Moving on.
Great. Trump's taxes.
Dude, that dropped like yesterday evening.
Yes.
Like a hot mixtape.
I didn't know what it. I just saw it. Like Earthquake or somebody posted about it. And I was like,
you got it from Earthquake?
I get a surprise. Probably 20% of my information is from Earthquake's Instagram.
That's so weird.
Well,
one time whatever.
He's great.
He when I worked at the Comedy Union.
Yeah.
He nutty professored me. You know when Dave's on stage and like makes fun of the nutty professor and everyone's laughing? He did that to me. Like, because me and him were really cool.
Yeah.
And like talk shit sometimes. And he asked me for water and I was like jokingly.
Right.
And he was like, you got an attitude.
On
like,
stage?
Yeah, well, he was on stage and I kind of like laughed it off. And then he proceeded to just rip me for, it felt like forever.
Yeah.
And I
Still
couldn't
happening
understand.
in your head.
I mean, it was off. I was traumatized. I was like, what the fuck was that? And then.
Was it like personal?
No, it was just
or was
like,
it like
this bitch,
your
blah, blah,
hair,
blah, blah. No, it wasn't personal
attitude.
to me. It was like, this bitch thinks she works, blah, blah, like just the dynamic. But it was
the
like.
way I treat you off mic.
Yeah, the way you treat Will on mic.
Okay, great.
So it was so awful. And that was like and I had to keep serving. And then people wrote, like, and when he got off, he was like,
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck you, dude. Like, that was so embarrassing and awful. People wrote on the receipts, you did have an attitude. Like, 0 tip. I'm like, oh, that from then on, I was like, never, ever, ever. I will never play first with someone with a microphone.
Yeah, that's smart.
No, just no.
Remind yourself of that when we start. when we record. I do technically have a microphone. You do too, but
I do too. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Earthquake
remember that
is your CNN.
Yes, and I'm Will's White Earthquake.
You are.
So did you? How much? So I read the New York Times article.
Yeah,
it was fucking long to the point where somebody had done. Another writer had done like 19 takeaways. So I just went to that after probably reading for 20 minutes.
Back. I read it for a while and I skipped and then I was like, fuck, I skipped something important. So then I just turned on TV.
But the problem, and this speaks to what I was saying about the Ahmaud Arbery thing, is Trump's scandals are one step too complicated to follow clearly. And what he can say is this is just corporate taxes. What he can trick poor people into thinking that's how rich people do their taxes. And he can so he can trick poor people and he can also go, well, it's smart, which is what he's done in the past. I'm a smart businessman.
Okay, so I definitely agree with you, but this one, the good thing is most people are not like me and you, and they're not reading that article, and they're not even subscribed to New York Times. Mm-hmm. So what the smart thing is, what political media does is they just said he paid $750 in taxes, and that's easy. And
yes.
That's
now
easy.
The problem with that,
it's like either no taxes and then $750. So that is a grabbable line. People like, I'm a nurse and I pay this. It's just not even. It doesn't have to be the reality. It's like,
all right. You ever look on Instagram?
Yes.
You've been on Instagram.
Okay.
If you ever look at someone's followers and it's like 670 and you're like, how does Earthquake only have 670 followers? And then you see the K and you're like, oh, 670,000 followers.
Yeah.
With Trump, with that headline, I wish he'd paid like $1,300. $750 in my mind. Somehow my mind kept making it $750,000. Like just something about I wish it had been a different number for.
I don't know. I think that's a stretch.
Yeah,
no?
maybe. I don't know. That's just what my brain did to it, and my award-winning brain.
I hope people are smart enough to know $750 is $750.
Yes, but I hope they do.
Let's assume they do.
Yes.
Okay. Because that's just because you've seen it everywhere. It's even not as many people are talking about the fact that he paid zero.
Yes.
750 is the most.
Well, he's not a cheapskate. He's going to kick in a little something.
The problem is it looks so out of touch to everyone.
He's not out of touch. He's one of the worst human beings that's ever lived. I'm just there now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, you're a fucking horrible, a horrible person. Worse than you can even. Everything is worse than you thought it could be.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you probably paid like $1 million, whatever.
Right.
Write-offs,
Like,
no. Like, to put this in perspective, when the bailout happened during COVID, the $1,200 or the $400, whatever, my accountant emailed me and was like, hey, because you're incorporated, you can get $1,500, whatever I could get. And then about an hour later, he was like, you know what? Don't. Because if people heard, it would be bad PR. Now, he represents me and a bunch of other comedians, showbiz people, like people with real money, like Eddie Murphy shit and Chris and fucking Wanda shit like that. But
name them all, mention it all.
Tracy Morgan, of course. Who can forget? And Tina Fey. But so it's more for them than me. Yeah. But it's more like
people are gonna be
he was like. It would look bad if Eddie Murphy got a $1,200 bailout. So just don't take it because you don't need the money.
$1,200, yeah, exactly.
Whereas Trump's the kind of guy
who's like, give me
who
that
goes,
shit.
am I getting, his lawyers and financial guys look for shit like that to take advantage. He'll say it's smart, and I would say it's so it's so beyond corrupt.
It's so gluttonous. Like, because we've all done a scam or two. Come on now.
Yeah.
But you do it in moderation.
And when you're 20,
yeah,
you do it.
mean, when you're younger.
When you're fucking broke, you do a scam. When you're rich, you don't. You just, there's kind of like, it's not worth the trouble.
One time I was
or when you're an adult.
Well, I was in an arcade and the machine broke and it gave me so
you
many
might not
tickets.
want to talk about this in the podcast.
Tilt in San Jose. It gave me so many.
They're very litigious. I know Tilt. I work with Tilt all the time.
And it was hard to get tickets there, and it gave me hundreds and hundreds, maybe 500 tickets, and you would not have gotten that. And you could tell I didn't get that much for the amount of time I'd been there. So
plus, everybody knows you're not that good. You're not that nice.
I wasn't that good at Tekken. I was not that good at Tekken. So me and my brother made a plan. We're like, all right, we're gonna hide these in the arcade. So we hid them behind an arcade game. And they're like, we're just going to take a little bit every time so it doesn't look completely obvious that this machine is broken, gave us way too many tickets. And it was fine. But in my head, I'm like, if that was Trump, he would be like,
yes,
this is all mine.
I'm a winner.
I won. Look, and then he would double down. Look how good I am. I won so many tickets.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't think I'm getting away with a lot.
Did I say on here that the founding fathers wouldn't have been able, the same way they couldn't fathom? It's like, you motherfuckers you're fucking, you have no more, no more. They see it as a feature. Not a bug. Like, they're proud of that.
Who's that?
Trump, fucking Mitch McConnell, people like Lindsey Graham.
I think that because the thing is, a lot of those Republicans, like Lindsey Graham and whatever, they were elected, before Trump was even a thing. Mm-hmm. So they're really doing everything. They're just betting on horses, like, what's going to get me reelected? They're all up for reelection.
I get it.
Dude, that's scared me.
Good. Even better.
That was deep.
It's funnier if you just get scared. My dog walker may come and scare the fuck out of you. Keith will start barking.
That. You've seen that.
God.
Great.
I mean, we'll cut it out, but it was pretty great.
When he cut it out,
nobody knows. He's worried about audio. His allegiance is to audio and audio only.
Suck my dick and choke on it.
that me?
So yeah, I donated to Lindsey Graham's opponent last night.
Oh God, I was like, Lindsey Graham.
No, like it
The
was
black dude?
Yeah, who's like a goofball, probably not going to win. But I'm like,
Anything
Yes.
except for Lady G.
yes, just a fucking that guy's a piece of shit. And they're un-American. I don't care that much about America as like a fucking. I don't think it's the greatest country. It's like, what are the stats?
Right.
That's the greatest country. Whatever the stats are, whatever's number one in each category is the greatest country in that category. But these that shit is fucking wrong. Like, dude, that's wrong. Well, liberals are just as bad. No, they're not. They're not just as bad. Like, like Gorsuch was kind of centrist.
Yeah.
And Obama was putting him up like, hey, there's a guy. He's not like a bleeding heart super lefty. He's kind of centrist. Like Gorsuch had gotten endorsements from Bush,
right?
And like that era. So he wasn't flame throwing.
Yeah, these are two different people.
Like they're so immoral, and the people that like him are. It's starting to be a little bit like Nazi territory to me. Where you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing
what's your ideal? This guy?
What is your ideal? What is your ideal? What are we doing here? Because the fact that they just say anything.
Yes.
Just say anything. And the problem is that, I mean, politicians aren't known for being, of high moral, with having high moral
dubious
compass.
At best, yes.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, what are we talking about? But I personally think that if Biden, I do think that left-leaning people and liberals would not support a candidate that doesn't fall in line. Like if Biden started doing weird shit, I don't think people would be making excuses for him.
Yeah, I think it would be, I can't think of an example.
I'm trying to think
Republicans would say anything that they do, like anything that liberals support is so far. Well, but you know what? Support defund the police. Joe Biden was like, yes, it's an extreme left position, and he's not like, yes, I'm going to sign an executive order defunding the police. It's like, no.
Yeah,
that's a standard thing that we have in this country and all over the world that's valuable, the police.
Right.
So I'm not just going to finagle a way to pull funding from this to give. And most liberals are like, no, we're not. Like, we need police.
I'm trying to think of times where liberals were really major hypocrites. Okay, when Obama was deporting a lot of people, it didn't make news like much.
Yeah,
like
but
it was
still,
like,
but there's plenty of liberals that will bring up drone strikes as like that guy's. He was not. Yeah. And I'm a liberal, and I'm like, Obama was okay.
Right.
It's all right. Like he was not bad. I like that he's black. I like him personally. Right. But he's a little mild for me personally.
Right.
So that it's not exactly a 1-to-1. But,
yeah, no, I'm just trying not to completely villainize a whole side.
Yeah, but like, supporting that guy I always wanted to do a Daily Show piece about this, which is saying to Republicans like, hey man, we're roommates.
Right.
Like you can't make the apartment. We have to live together.
Right.
And they don't understand like, so we'll do this and then you'll leave. No, it's this lease. We're locked into this lease.
Right. No one's going anywhere.
So you need to make this a little more livable because this shit's fucking nuts. Like it can't be lights out at 8:30 every night. And you can't start banging a drum at fucking at 6 because you can't play Rivoli because that's what you want.
Right.
We're fucking room. We have to agree to some of this shit, and there's got to be parameters of what's realistic and what's acceptable. But they've so far, it's a bummer and it's painful.
Well, there is this theory that. So to get any national security clearance, they look at how much debt you have. And they were saying that's, I guess, why Jared Kushner originally couldn't get cleared because he had so much debt.
Yeah.
But then that debt got paid by
Deutsche Bank.
There we go. But they were saying that the reason why they do that is because it leaves you too vulnerable to blackmail and stuff. And he has like $450 million. Tip.
Yes.
He has $450 million in debt, like coming up in the next few years.
Trump's going to owe the government $100 million potentially. Like he can't.
Dude, he's
to the
fucked.
U.S. government.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
well, because now.
How hard do you think they're going to push for it?
The thing is,
if he gets reelected?
The thing is,
they're going to put a lien on the White House. They're gonna
He's gonna have to go to Judge
They're gonna put a
Judy.
fucking boot on Air Force One, guys. This month, if we elect this guy, there's gonna be a big. It's gonna, how. Then I do a black bit about, brother, with the Air Force One on the boot, we try to take off without it. Go on. That was my Charles. But first of all,
you're being a real Charles Barkley right now.
Yeah.
No, I just
Neal is a wigger.
Black man here.
So funny. No, there's just something so. When you zoom out, obviously all this is fucked up. But when you zoom out, we look incredibly weak, weaker than I thought we were as a country. We're so easily.
I had a tweet this week that
triggered.
I said we're a first world country that identifies as a third world country. I could have written,
Yeah,
and then I
rewrote
it.
I like the rewrite.
I rewrote it to
rewrite
we're
was
a
better.
third world country that identifies as first world
makes more
country.
sense.
We're. By the way, whenever you go to another country and they don't have good infrastructure, it's because they didn't take on all the debt in the world, which we do. We cannot afford this way of life, especially when pieces of shit like Trump and most corporations don't pay taxes.
That's the funny thing. It's like we really concentrate on all of us non-billionaires paying our taxes. But the weird thing is that a lot of Trump supporters and right-leaning people, I mean, it's not that hard of a concept to understand that if you paid the appropriate amount of taxes, you would still have so much money left over. And it would help alleviate some of our national debt. But when you talk about it, you're like a crazy Bernie Sanders person.
You know who they think it's going to go to?
What?
Trespassers. They think the money's going to...
Mexicanos?
No, the black people.
Oh, trespassers.
They think that... I call them trespassers.
I was like, illegal?
Yeah, they think it's going to go to welfare queens. That's the fucking welfare... Like, well, I don't... My money, I don't want... You're taking my... I had this discussion the other night. I've never... Even when I didn't make a lot of money, I never thought my taxes were too high. I just it's the cost of admission. I don't know it's an infrastructure that needs upkeep and you pay for shit. I never thought the blacks are getting it in. You're gonna use to buy Timberlands. I never assumed the worst about where my taxes were going. Is it way too much military? Absolutely. But until we start making cuts to places where we need cuts.
It's just funny how we have a theme of, Republican governments. They're not good with economics.
They're the worst with economics.
Trickle down.
They're significantly worse with economics because they're there to prove that government doesn't work.
Yeah, and
they
we
run
don't need
on
it.
government doesn't work.
We need you to butt
it's
out.
corrupt. And if you elect us, we'll show you how poorly it works because we'll just rig it.
Yeah.
They will rig it. So
I don't get how though. Literally, he did away with expenditures, right? Things you can write off.
He did away with them, or he overdid them.
Or he changed the tax to say hey, you can't write off a bunch of shit anymore.
Who did?
Trump. Didn't he pass all these?
No, He made it the tax cut. The corporate tax rate went from 26 to 21. It's
no. I'm saying for everyday people.
But here's the thing, and I say this as a guy who you wouldn't know it. My father was a corporate tax attorney. These motherfuckers. My dad would go to work every day to cut the taxes for Sara Lee, all these corporations, Commodore Computers, and try to just there's a department reading laws and looking for loopholes. So I go to H&R Block. They're not there.
Right.
They're not lawyers. They're just guys who understand data input, basically. My dad was a fucking tax lawyer. So these guys, and then he's just one of thousands.
Yeah.
They have armies of these motherfuckers. And they're all as cold as my father. And that, if you take nothing away from this episode. So they're going to find loopholes. I don't think it's not that what Trump did may not have even been illegal. The laws are so fucking warped.
They think that it was illegal. That most of it wasn't, but it was like a law where like, okay, if you have so much loss in your business, then
you
of
can
course
write it off forever.
And then you fudge the law. Yeah. The loss.
He would overstate losses and understate profits. That is illegal.
And so
Apple
many people
doesn't
do
pay
that.
taxes. Like the amount of people that don't pay taxes. Amazon barely pays taxes.
If you're a multinational corporation, you
ain't
pay taxes
paying
in
shit.
Fucking Myanmar.
Yeah. What? My business is the Caymans. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm just here visiting.
Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
No, not from America.
Moving on. Great. Brad Parscale.
Did you see that video?
Which one? The
Like,
cop?
is this in Florida? Just straight up by looking at that video.
Yeah, it's Florida. Too big a house. Too
board
many palms.
shorts. America board shorts.
Yeah.
Oakley's on the back of his head.
Debt. No state taxes. Because I don't want to go into these black people. Yeah. He said he tried to kill himself, but then there was more reporting today that he was drunk, threatened his wife with a gun, called the cops. Wife went to the neighbors, called the cops, and that's where you go, oh yeah, that's Trump's guy.
Yeah.
that pretend victimizing people and pretending you're the victim. It's like, yeah, you already work for Trump? Because I was gonna say he would love to hire you. So Brad Parscale, you're a piece of shit. Speaking of piece of shit, we don't often label women piece of shit, but Amy Coney Barrett.
Amy, why are you such a weirdo?
It's not a weirdo. It's just you didn't grow up with Catholics.
No, she's part of the cult.
The charismatic Christians?
No, she's part of that cult. They're called the Family of something or
they're a charismatic Christian organization.
Oh, I don't fucking know what that is.
I do, which is why I said it.
Good for you. And it says...
but you're snapping at me about like, fucking fuck, you're good. No, that's the corporation.
No one's snapping at me.
Yes, fucking Christians are very weird. And there are many sects going back. I mean, the newer one, again, any new religion's crazy. But she's very Christian, and she's going to be a Supreme Court justice for 40 years because she's 43 or something. And we're going to be hearing about this nightmare for the rest of our lives, potentially.
I mean, I just don't get how Lady G could go against her word.
Well, there's also again, they're playing.
Like, hold me to my
of course,
word.
But he doesn't care, and then he goes, "You would do the same thing," and all this stuff. That's why it just reminded me to give money to the other guy because I can't. Because that's one of the only, not the only nice things about having money is you just be like, "Oh, fuck you."
Right.
Okay, I'm giving money to your opponent. It's like it's politics are so backward that in America, it's not enough that you vote for the guy. You have to pay for him to run. And then once he gets in, you got to give him more money to lobby for shit. So it's like Girl Scout cookies. Girl Scout comes to you and goes, "Hey, you want some Girl Scout cookies?" You go, "Yeah, let me get $100 worth of Thin Mints." And then 6 months later, you're like, "Hey, where are my Thin Mints?" They're like, "You know what? That was just to get me to the factory." I'm going to need another.
Right.
Now I'm actually going to need 400 because just to turn the cookie machine on.
I know. I donated during the primaries. I was like, stop hitting me up.
Oh,
What are
they
you
don't
doing?
stop hitting.
I
They're
gave
never.
you.
Bianca.
They're like, do you want to do a monthly? I'm like, I don't know. What do you want? How much money do you want to never talk to me again and just try to win? Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk.
You don't got that kind of money. There is no price that's. Did I ever tell you
you're
that?
Punished for
also,
donating.
when you donate more significant amounts, they'll call you.
Oh man.
Directly and say, "Do you want to have lunch?"
Ooh, I want lunch.
I don't want to eat with a stranger and hear about their charity.
Who's paying for lunch?
I am eventually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm paying for the lunch. It's like, hey, you want to go out to lunch for that? You're gonna pay. It's like, fuck yeah, I'm paying for the lunch eventually. But I don't. Even when I gave to Colin Kaepernick's thing, they go, Colin wants to talk to you. I was like, I don't want to talk to him. Just take the money for the thing it's for.
Go away.
But they're trying to butter you up for more money in the future, which I also get. But I don't. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. But they don't want to.
TBD.
They don't want to make it like, hey, what happened to that guy?
Right.
They kind of want to. And then I was talking to somebody who works at a corporation that they audit nonprofits, and they said one of the biggest issues is donor relations, that they let them go by the wayside. And she's like, you're rare.
Where
that
you're like,
you
fuck
don't
off,
want
leave me alone.
you don't want your name on anything. You don't want. Yeah, I don't. Just do the thing you said you do. I don't want to. Guy,
Right.
I don't know. Don't call me. I think Mark Kelly, the guy who's running for Arizona, called me because that's a new
Did
thing
you get
where
a missed
they.
call?
Yeah, well, no, there was a message, but it sounded like him. Like that's another thing they do where they'll call their donors individually. They'll call like a radio contest. They'll call the donors directly.
Oh, that's nice.
It's nice, but again,
Just click. Do you want to be contacted?
that is nice. I know they don't have that. They
Like,
don't
do
give you the
wanna
option.
Be contacted. Or
You
not?
want to take this to the next level. You want us to call you and then charge you for how much it costs. You know why the Democrats are taking as long as they can with the Amy Coney Barrett thing. They're just hoping that a Republican or two will die. That's literally the only thing that
Wait,
Democrats
what do you mean?
have to not confirm Amy Coney Barrett. Republicans have a majority, so now the only thing Democrats can do is just wait and hope somebody dies. That's the only thing they have left. It's just like, let's just wait as long as we can and hope that seat that they die and we can't fill it. And
The Senate's so goddamn important.
but it's also so old.
It's so stupid.
that you have to be there to vote.
Also, all these people are old enough to maybe they'll die, and they're
That's what I mean.
deciding our country's how we're living now.
Based on
after they've already lived.
Based on like, well, I said I have to live my values.
What if we put like an age limit on Congress? Like once you turn 55, like you're out. So you really only have till.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they'll find a way to finagle it. And actually, I left I left my coat here, and then they'll figure out a fuking
left my coat
thing.
here.
Did you see the Ilhan Omar? There was this guy James O'Keefe from Project Veritas who makes fake sting videos for Republicans to get liberals, and they are all debunked eventually. He was the acorn guy for Obama. He was the big acorn guy. So there's a ballot harvesting thing, and in Minnesota, and it's just like if this guy isn't lying. The guy in the video, it's basically I think Muslim Uber driver looking motherfucker who's, there. It's like, you can see my car is full. I'm harvesting these absent. He's literally like just giving dialogue about what he's doing.
My car is full. Who's doing that?
This Muslim dude. Again, I'm saying he's Muslim. Yeah, he gets bags of money that look like bullshit. This guy just makes fake videos. If this isn't fake, I'll donate to Project Veritas, and hopefully they'll take me out to lunch.
Can I go?
So that's bullshit. The debates are coming.
I'm really excited.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
You're not nervous.
I love reality TV. I do think that if Biden is preparing well, I think there's so much coming out. The problem is, if they prepare well enough, I think they can just throw him off. Like, I think you can throw off Trump easily because he's not good in a debate setting. He's not good when he can't control.
I think he's pretty good in debate settings.
He wasn't good with Clinton. He talked over her. No, meaning he just but she was a good person for him because she was like must remain presidential the whole time, and he he's like a cakewalk. Whereas Biden, I think there are two.
But what's the difference? I don't think Biden is.
I think
he enjoys he believes in decorum.
But he's more. I think he could talk a little more shit than Hillary's not like. Just don't think she was ever cool enough to talk shit.
I think it's a tie for second.
Yeah,
between those two in terms of talking shit, because I can't think of any time
I'm not saying
Biden
he has good zingers. I'm just saying I don't think Biden's gonna like just the whole like I'll debate you in words. You could have urine. It's hilarious.
If Biden wrote that,
he didn't write.
I'll donate to Project Veritas. Another donation to Project Veritas.
No, I just think that they're a more even match. I think they will. I think they're just cut from similar cloths in a same way.
I think you're underestimating DJT. And I remember the last round with Clinton. I'm already betting that he's going to win. That he's going to win the election.
No, I'm talking about the debate.
Oh, here's the thing. All right, so
just looks like who's going to look better?
And I don't know if I've shared this on here.
Probably not.
When he debated Hillary, I was watching the second debate, the lurking one, the one where he was,
that was so fucking.
Yes. Okay, so when he debated Hillary, we watched it at the Daily Show. I was working at the Daily Show, and debate ends, and me and Trevor look at each other and go, she lost.
Yeah.
Everyone disagreed with us. No, he didn't. No. And we were like, okay. But we know the thing about stand-up is it doesn't matter. The audience doesn't care about facts. They care about fucking killing. The battleground states, Minnesota, especially just the Midwest, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Western Pennsylvania. Who would I have a harder time following at the Pittsburgh Improv? Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
Maybe Trump.
I'd have a absolutely harder time in 2016 and now following Trump.
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking show. He's more charismatic than Biden. And the other thing is none of the rules apply. So you've got, in some ways, it's like when I'm on stage with Chappelle. And I always say, when we're on stage, my jokes have to be fucking perfect to get half of the laugh he gets from sipping his water.
Right. Smoking a cigarette.
Yes. So because he's more charismatic, he's got, for the litany of reasons why. Now, to the lay person, you go, well, he's funnier than you. Yes, but he's not that much funnier than me. It's all the intangibles of charisma. They like him more. They want him to win. So Trump has all these things going for him that Biden kind of can't fight. The minute you start saying like there's not a thing Biden can say that Trump can't just like ignore.
I think that strategy worked better in 2016 because
which one?
Just really ignoring points that Hillary made. Like she made a lot of good points. It didn't really matter. It was her delivery.
And that's the way Trump, in some ways, his debating tactics are the opposite of his scandals, which is they're so simple and they make no sense, but they're incredibly simple.
They are, but this is where you leave yourself vulnerable. The problem is back in 2016, there wasn't that much.
There was no history to draw on.
Right. So because there's so much to take from and there's so many bad moves based on him, that sort of fighting style works at that time period. But I think now, I'm not done with my point.
No, I know.
Now I think the problem with that super, super simple way of doing it, like it's so simple, it's like genius that it worked. I think now you can get a zinger on him, and if he doesn't snap quickly or it's not funny, like you can out simple him.
Give me an example.
No.
So no one in the press has been able to do it.
Yeah,
no one in the White House
aren't
briefing
sparring
room.
with him. He can leave a.
Or even interviewers, Chris Wallace. All he does is we're gonna look it up, and then you're done.
But again, all of these they're playing. Even when they're playing hardball with him, they are playing softball with him because he's a hair trigger when he gets sensitive, and he can leave it. Interview can shut it down or whatever, and they have to still kind of respect the fact that he's the president. But like when he did that town hall with Chris Wallace, and that black lady was like, "Don't interrupt." If you outdo him at his thing, I don't think he has good. Hillary was so different than him that he could just play even when he agreed with her, he interrupted her and he was like, "True." He just kept doing his thing. But it's almost like I remember when I watched the Def Jam, the new version that came out.
The anniversary or the
anniversary
TV show?
one
that
came out, and DL was on with Dave, and it was like, dude, like you gotta just let Dave go.
That's actually a bad example of what I was saying, because Chappelle was so fucking. It was like the funniest thing I've ever seen him do, and I've seen him do everything he's ever. It was like fucking. It was
amazing, but just for the argument's sake, if you put Omar Epps there, at least they're like silly enough, like in similar ways.
DL and Omar Epps?
No, Omar Epps and Dave. I'm not saying
why Omar Epps.
Mike Epps.
Mike Epps. Mike Epps. Yeah. Omar Epps from Juice.
You were like, why Omar Epps?
My him.
I'm sorry, Mike Epps. They both are this kind of can pull from the air and make something funny. I feel like that could have even gelled. I'm not saying it would have. He's the same or comparing them on the same funny level, but they both do their own thing in a similar way that I feel like that could have worked better. DL was set up for failure from jump.
Couldn't. There was no way. Dave was so nonlinear in that.
Let's just take that specific out.
Right, but I would say
yes,
but I don't think that Biden is to Trump as Mike Epps is to Dave.
I think he's similar. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
You can't get Trump in a fucking. You literally can't hold him because he doesn't have bones.
Right.
He doesn't have ligaments.
But people like that, because it's so simple, what you have to do is you just have to out-zinger him because his zingers aren't that great.
But here's the problem. He goes,
killing it.
You're wrong. We'll look it up. And then he's been promising healthcare every 2 weeks for 4 years.
I just think maybe.
And doesn't care. That's the thing he doesn't live in reality. So you're bringing reality to a sci-fi fight, basically.
But you can just sit there and instead of fighting him on his level, you can just be like, get a load of this guy. If you do it right, you can do it. I mean, these dum-dums
Who's done it?
Look, I'm not saying.
No, I know what you're saying. You're offering this thing up.
That it isn't like made up from outer space. I'm saying like as long as you can just put him in context.
He'll just lie.
I don't know.
That's
like,
the thing
who
is,
knows? That's just my opinion.
But but what I'm saying is the black lady who was like, don't interrupt, fucking didn't leave a mark on him.
Well, the point was not to leave a mark. So, I'm just saying that when
it didn't leave a mark on Trump.
Right.
That wasn't the takeaway. The takeaway wasn't, did you see that lady get him on his heels?
I saw it a lot. Like in my feed, that was
right.
Lot. I don't know.
This speaks to the feed thing, which is didn't make a difference to fucking Western Pennsylvania people.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that like if you can come at him with like out energy him, he stopped. He didn't argue with her. He was just like he stopped talking to him.
Well, I think he knew it was bad luck.
Well, of course he knew it was a bad look. But
even he thought it was a bad luck. He would have, if she was a reporter, he would have called her low IQ.
Disgusting.
Yeah, filthy. You trespasser. This is not news.
What?
We are moving on.
Moving on.
You know what else is moving on tomorrow? A little piece of the inside of my nose.
Are you gonna do anything with this?
No,
You're
that's
not
a
gonna
good
do
point.
anything with
it's a good point.
that.
I can't.
I'm joking.
No, I know. But did I tell you about the CAT scan?
Yeah.
I got a CAT scan. Did I talk about it on here?
Yeah. Just do a recap. Maybe someone didn't hear last episode.
You want to look at a bird. You want to, like, if you saw my profile, you go, oh, it's a bird. But I can't. It's too late. This is actually why glasses work on me, because it covers the bump. Because before it was like, are you going to do anything with that bump? Like, are you going to put anything there?
Guys can have weird noses.
Of course.
I like guys
take, for instance, Brad Pitt.
I like guys with big noses.
No, I know you. I was going to say you do.
Yeah,
but I think
like
generally women just want you to look like a 9. If given their druthers, just look like, if you can, look like Brad Pitt.
Who wants to date a 9? It's a lesbian relationship.
Now, so I'm going in. So pray for me.
Are you going under?
No, I'm just fucking around. I'm
what?
Saying,
You're gonna be in there for?
Yes, that's the new thing. So it's pretty awesome. I can't remember which one they're doing. There's a radio frequency thing that they can stick into your cartilage and kind of cauterize it.
Yuck,
and it makes it like the, and it reduces it. Like the cartilage goes like for kind of forever.
That's gonna be so vibrating on your nose. How
I can't wait.
Uncomfortable.
I love it.
What if you sneeze during it?
Oh, we're in a lot of trouble.
Don't sneeze.
We're in a lot of trouble. No, I think they anesthetize it, but it's not.
Do you need someone to pick you up? Is that why you're bringing it
No.
up? I will drive your Tesla.
No, I don't, actually. And the last time I got real surgery that I needed to go under for, I faked them out, which is I had somebody come and pick me up, and then they dropped me off a block from the hospital where I'd left my car. Because Neal Brennan,
that's so
don't play by the rules.
That person already made the.
I did. You know would have been worse is having to be in the back of a smelly Uber. I just like driving myself if I can.
Why don't you just get a friend?
Too much trouble.
All right,
French.
fine.
Have you had a friend? They're not great.
Moving on.
Apple TV. I got a 1-week membership. When I tell you that there are 8 original things on Apple TV, I fucking am not kidding. There might be 9.
Sad. That's sad. Like, don't launch the TV.
Like, just give it a second, guys.
Right.
Just wait until you have, 20 things.
Right.
They don't. It's all, they have their 9 things, and then they just have, like, watch the Comey rules. Like, that's Showtime.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to you for, stop it.
So after the
So I
trial,
watched
you're out?
Boys State, which people kept telling me to watch.
Good.
No.
Scripted reality documentary.
Documentary about basically like a student government thing, like a high-end student government thing in Texas.
Student government, what, like the...
Like Model UN,
the
but by the way,
student-
it was all, they'd separate them boys and girls, and the boys, so it's boys, and it was not I don't like teenage boys. They are gross.
So what were they doing? Bad
They
stuff?
were like doing a government, like they were running for office for this fake thing. But it just smelled like farts to me, even though it didn't. It smelled like BO farts and like jerk off essence.
Just too much.
Just
young
all
boy.
16, 17-year-old guys.
And what,
Going like, yeah,
was it
you
interesting?
fucking-" Not to me, but I don't.
So they were just running for an office. Did
Yes.
they do something corrupt?
They would kind of fudge and they would like move positions and they made like videos. They made like memes about the other side. And
Interesting. And that was a whole documentary?
yeah, man.
Just about them running for
Buck
like
49,
a mini.
hour 49.
Wow.
Not easy. And then there's a Beastie Boys movie.
One's Indian. Are they both Indian?
No.
Boy
But
State?
one kid, I like the Indian kid. He was good. Also, I think he was Latino, Latinx.
Latinx?
Yes. So whatever. And then there's Beastie Boys movie or documentary, or the Beastie Boys story based on their book. And I gotta say, it pains me to say this, but I didn't, and Spike Jonze directed it,
Not a
and
fan.
I wasn't a fan.
So these are doc watches that you didn't like?
Yeah. You good for the goose, good for the gander. By the way, there's a Frontline, The Choice, about Biden and Trump that I didn't watch so that I could watch these because my membership was ending. And I never again.
Are you going to renew?
Never again. No, there's not. What? I'll give it another 5 years when their next 9 things are ready.
Right.
They're going to be, they take forever, these people.
These people.
Here's my issue with the Beastie Boys. It was basically a live, like a one-man show with Mike and Adam, right? And
A new concert?
no music. They didn't sing or they didn't rap. They didn't do any of their music. They just talked about their story, which is fine. They didn't memorize their lines. So there's a teleprompter and
What?
the other
Weak.
weird, I know, and it's like, fellas.
So are they just like, it's like an
But
SNL
yes,
when they're
no,
like,
it was
"What'd you
worse
say?"
than no, it was worse than that because they're both very charismatic, good, funny, interesting guys, but the writing was like, little did we know that everything was about to change. I mean, that was actually like a bit, like the song that changed everything. They just repeated it like 5 times. Then it changed, but they would go like, our friend Adam was an enigma wrapped up in a riddle. And it like their performances were so weird. Like, fellas, memorize the shit because you're doing a theater and then you're going to broadcast it.
it's like their early mixtapes if they just said them.
It was like after school special version of like, and then Rick came in and we were like, what?
No.
And he was like, you guys got to hear this.
So bad.
It was fucking bizarre. Like, why are you doing this? Like, Horowitz is a great fucking performer.
Yeah.
Like like in terms of acting and like as a guy.
Yeah.
And Mike could have. There was a way for Mike to do it that he could have been. It was fucking like, why are you doing this?
Oh no, to sit through that must have
And
been
like,
awful.
you want to talk about like a band that had a huge, like, I knew them.
Yeah.
I loved their music.
Yeah.
They're white rappers who were actually good
Right.
and weren't Eminem. You know what I mean? Like they weren't like, it was fun.
Was it like a biopic sort of story of their life, or was it?
It was
about...
a story of the band, but
Yeah, that's what I mean. Of them, the Beastie Boys.
yes,
They were like,
it was the story of the band. Like, I was 13 and I went
And they just
downtown to
standing there?
CBGB. Yeah,
What
and they had a
happened to
video
the-
behind them. They had like mostly photos and shit behind them.
oh no.
But it was one of these things like, this is so easy to correct, but here's the bad news. It's going to take you 5 hours to memorize it. Oh.
How long is the show?
2 hours.
Oh my God. Plays
Apparently
are
live
memorable.
it was 3, which is like, whoa. Wee.
No, I mean, dude, people memorize
Memorize
long
it.
plays,
Bullet
man.
point it. Actually, and if they had bullet pointed it, they would have it would have been more natural.
Right.
And there was like little asides between them that were kind of funny, but it was like, it was infuriating because like, you could do this well.
Right.
It's going to take, like I said, 5 hours, and you are going to have to try a little bit. I'm sorry. But I'm fucking begging you to just try it. Just try it. Just tell me the version. How would you say that normally?
Right.
You would go like, our friend Adam was such a special guy. And then, so that was a real bummer. But it was still like good. But it was like
slightly
like a missed opportunity.
A rough
a missed
delivery.
opportunity that I felt like they hid behind that's their intention. But it's like, it sounds like an after school special. It sounds like a book report. Like, it was fucking bizarre.
So funny. I saw a documentary. I love my true crime. It's Errol Morris came out with a new documentary.
And I didn't watch that also.
Wilderness of Error.
Yes.
And it's fucking great. So the first 3 episodes are out.
Yes. On Hulu.
That's nice. On Hulu. And it's about...
Hulu's got hundreds of things.
At least 10.
Yes.
It's almost like an old school version of Making a Murder. Because it talks about a, I guess, very famous case from the mid-60s that happened with a Army medical officer. So it's really interesting.
I don't even remember what Making a Murder is.
Making a Murder of the guy with the burn barrel.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So it's really cool. So they basically, I'm 3 episodes and I don't know. I'm like, wait, did he? Did he not? Basically, his family gets murdered and he gets attacked. And he said hippies came in and a girl in a white hat, a Negro, and 2 men, and they wrote pig, like imitating the Charles Manson thing.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a lot of the details are really far-fetched.
It's like when I read Jesse Smollett.
Yeah, it's like, I'm the gay Tupac. Like, I don't know, dude.
Whitney texted me the Jesse Smollett thing the morning it happened, and I wrote back, this didn't happen.
Wow, really?
Yes. And she was like, what? I'm like, this didn't happen. And then I said to a Hall of Fame comedian who will go unnamed, I smell a rat. And he said, I just spoke to rats. They said, leave us out of it.
That's really fun.
Yes.
So the story is very Jesse Smollett, juicy.
Mm-hmm.
And like everybody's killed. He only has a few puncture wounds. Everybody in the house has different blood. His blood is conveniently only over the sink. Like all this stuff where it's like, no. You think it's a slam dunk, like 4 hippies, whatever. Then you start realizing like, 4 hippies might exist.
They parked and
this
they
actually
were seen
happened.
Earlier,
There's all this stuff they left out of the case. There's all this information of people where it's like, did this far-fetched story actually happen? Or did this guy lose his fucking mind and kill his family? And it's really good. And it's the Errol Morris touch of the he has those like dramatization. Yeah. So
by the way, if you haven't, do you ever see Tabloid?
No.
I think it's on Hulu. It's an Errol Morris movie. It's a secret banger.
Yeah. I saw that his first one, Titty Cut Follies, right? Wasn't it him?
Yeah.
That was sad.
Yeah. Although did he do that? It's Tabloid's like
Tabloid's
from
good.
6-7 years ago.
Tabloid?
Really, really good.
And
Tabloid,
it's him? Is it just like a deep dive?
Tabloid.
I thought you wanted me to Google it. Titty.
No, it's fine.
Tabloid from 2010.
Does it follow a storyline?
Yes,
or is it just
but
kind of a slice of life?
The story's fucking really odd.
Really?
It's like a woman faking. A woman who in 1977 was accused of kidnapping and raping Kirk Anderson, an American Mormon missionary.
Oh my God.
But
I was wrong. It wasn't him. Yeah, no. Okay, cool. So I've seen A Thin Blue Line. I've seen another one.
Vernon, Florida is really good.
Yeah. And then I think someone suggested
Fog of War is great.
Fog of War. But I haven't seen Tabloid.
Yes. So let's do some letters. Will.
Moving on.
LSTNER.
I love it. Look at double. That was a double.
LSTNER.
You got mail.
Oh, that's nice.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Zane, and I've been playing video games pretty much my whole life.
You're kidding.
And I've been playing with the same group of 5 to 6 guys for the past 2 years on the same game, and they started picking on me and bullying me too much, so I just decided I'm not going to be friends with them anymore.
Aww.
And I wanted to know, how do you keep the relationships you do have with your friends strong and long-lasting? Thanks again, Zane. Peace out.
That's so fucked up.
That's young. Boy State is him 10 years earlier, just going like, yeah, see, I believe in small government, and you're just like, oh fuck, I gotta get out of here. Zane,
why are they picking on him?
well, did you see his hair? I'm kidding. And then I start going like, do they say things like, and then I
then you make
have a
it worse.
litany of things. Did they say things like?
Zane.
I can't do it.
Don't do it.
Friendships. Zane, friendships are
Zane.
many splendored. No, I don't know. Yeah, if they're mean, you just go, I'm not going to be friends with you anymore. I've done that to people.
Yeah, you gotta cut it out.
Out. You got to cut
Uncle
it out.
Joey.
Yeah, Uncle Joey. It. I cut a guy out
Joey.
28 years ago, and I just said, like, you're too much of an asshole. 21 years ago. And I think, and then that night, I went to a concert with Mike D. I think it was a Pavement concert. That's how long ago this was. At Irving Plaza in New York. And me and Mike were walking up the steps, and the guy that I cut out was walking down the steps, and he pointed at me and goes, Dick. And he goes, Dick ass. You're a fucking dick. But because I said, you're too mean a person.
And then he just
You don't have a good spirit, and I don't want to be friends with you anymore. And I just straight up told him. And I just started going to therapy also. And I was like creating boundaries. And he then proved what was the matter with him.
So should Zane,
yes, I think he said he broke up with him.
no, but should he tell him, like, you guys are just too much?
No, because my guess is they don't care, and my other guess is they think they like Zane they can push around.
Yeah.
And you're not. It's very, very difficult to reinvent yourself outside of a movie montage.
Well, I know someone who's trying to do a podcast. And
Finally,
one of the guys, I know.
if they need a producer, I'm looking to get rid of somebody. I'm your white earthquake.
Will's white earthquake. So I need the one guy kept trying to make him the fall guy, the dumb one on the podcast, and the dynamic kept doing it. And they kept talking. He kept saying, like, yo, I'm not going to be the dumb guy. Like, stop trying to make me the dumb guy. And they got in an argument, like a really big argument about it. And I thought about it. I'm like, man, there's some people that are just comfortable with that dynamic. That, like, I
gotta say that was the only, like, I don't like when people do that. Meaning, I don't,
like a crutch of communication.
But weird. As in personal lives, obviously they're just gonna try to pile on whoever they can pile on. But I never liked, some comedians do that with their like openers or their, and it's like, nah, I don't like that.
Just shit on their openers, make him like this loser.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't like. Dalia used to do it. That was the only I never said to him I didn't like that, but that was the thing that I just was like, don't shit on your openers.
Right.
Like they're, you know.
But shit on your producers.
Yeah, it's pretty genuine how hard I come down on Will.
Neal.
Yeah,
Bianca.
Will, if you need to play a song,
Will is trying his best.
You should have been playing that, Will.
Play that should play under the entire podcast. You piece of garbage. I'm kidding.
Goodbye. You've
Hey,
got
Neal
mail.
and Bianca. Latinx. That's literally
Love
what it
it.
says. A question for all relationships, but especially the ones that are state certified. I'm assuming that's married.
Mm-hmm.
A, likes to have sex more often than B. Who's it on to keep up a fair and balanced sex life? A, taking more swings, or B, throwing more bones? How Neal feel and what Binks Latinx?
Yours truly A. Oh, he's A.
He's A. I didn't think wasn't sure who he was.
It's grown.
I was thinking just about marriage in general, and
You were.
of course negative.
Okay.
So it was me. It's such an guys just want sex, like, or not just want sex. We have to have sex. Whereas women, it's a nice thing every once in a while.
But a lot of marriages, especially, flip, and a lot of women end up wanting sex, and guys are not into it.
Statistically, what do you think of that is? I mean,
I think that after a certain
I think
age-
women like saying that, but I would say is the story of marriage in my own friends' experiences is
Not that.
it's just after 2 years, after 3 years, it's fucking over, and then you have a kid and it's fucking over. It's like really over.
I heard that at first it's very much what he's saying, and then it grows
10 years
into-
passes, the man gets completely demoralized, and then the woman's
God.
like, let's have sex, and he's like, where have you been?
I think it's more so. I mean, look, if you're breastfeeding and kissing your kids on the cheeks, like, do you really want to
Right,
pardon
that's
my
what I'm
French
saying.
come on in your wife's
Right.
mouth and face?
Yes. Yeah, the answer is yes. No, but of course, sex and family are kind of diametrically opposed to each other. Meaning, you made roommates.
Right.
So, how sexy do you think it's going to be? They're roommates who don't know what sex is, and would be horrified to know that what it is and that you and mommy are doing it. So you're just making a situation where
brittle,
it's
fragile roommates.
yes, you're just not gonna. This is not doesn't lend itself. It's not the sexiest environment, and it's not supposed to be. But I don't think. I'm gonna say women. I don't think women care. It's like I think that once kids start showing up, mothers especially are like, oh, this is the good shit. This is actual love.
I do think it's funny that in society we do guys chase women, they court women, they go after them. The men go after the women lie there and
Yep.
wait and that's our dynamic. And then as soon as we're married, it's like, well, I thought it was just gonna change because we signed a piece of
The
paper.
guy or the woman?
The guy thinks somehow the woman's just gonna fuck him all the time. It's like the whole thing in our heads is that like a guy has to try and get
Right.
it. You know what I mean? So it's just funny that it doesn't.
Yes, but guys assume that by dedicating my life to you, that's kind of the ultimate peacock.
Well, women assume that dedicating our lives to you mean you aren't gonna fuck anyone else, and that's
We're not going to.
Well,
But right, yeah, guys cheat, but not if you fuck them.
that is not
You
true.
can't fire an empty gun. You know the old saying, you can't fire an empty gun.
I don't know that one.
Ain't no bullets in an empty chamber. How many different ways can I say this? You don't. No guy's cheating because he's getting so much pussy at home.
I'm assigning you 10 cc's of watching Waiting to Exhale. Come back to me.
Some bullshit female propaganda of like, you know what? That movie should be called You Know What.
Goodbye. You've got mail.
Hey, Neal and Bianca, LSCNER. I'm a 32-year-old Latinx. Gonna steal that one, by the way, they said. Living
so
alone with a puggle.
Oh,
That doesn't really have to do much with my question, but I just think it's funny that people preface their emails with that. Pugalatinks. My dad recently died, and that's been tough. I had a pretty good relationship with him because he was just a genuinely kind man, but as I get older, I was unsure of how to talk to him because he was always incredibly reserved. Neal, I know you had a tough relationship with your dad, and Bianca, I'm not sure what yours was like, but my question is this. Do you care to dig into the life of a dead parent and find out parts of them you didn't know by asking the other parent? Or do you just let them rest in power and cherish what memories you have of them? It's a good question.
I don't know. I did a lot of digging while he was alive.
Well, he's a Middle Eastern man. I'm sure it was archaeological, folks.
And we went to Iran, and so shut up.
Indiana Banks. Binky-Anna Jones.
Binky-Anna Jones. You're behind me. Binky. No, Binky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And then we went to Iran, and that, I feel like if I didn't go to Iran with him, that would be a real blank space there. But when you go back to where your parents are from and you see all their old friends and old photos.
You went with him?
Yeah, we all went. Him, me, and my brother. And yeah, that was the most, like, I know my dad. I know who he is. Before that, I did. But that was like full circle. So I was really happy about that. But let's say I didn't have that, or I had a hole in it. I don't know. What if you find something fucked up?
Yeah. I mean, that's why. Yes, you might find something fucked up. If you start the process, you got to be prepared to find out that he has an apartment downtown.
You got to ask family members, like, hey, I want to know more. Like, do you think, like, give me a clue? Because everyone knows something, you know?
Yeah.
Like when people start working at the store and they never let me train them first. They always let me train them last because I'm not very organized with my system. Mm-hmm. I'm just fucking good at handling volumes of people. I don't know how to teach it. I'm just like, I don't know. I memorize things, I don't write anything down. But what I teach them is how to hustle at that job. And when I give them the most fucked up time, I'm like, okay, she's kind of a bitch. She's really nice. She'll help you. Blah, blah, blah. Like I give them I tell them the reality.
Yes.
I'm like, don't talk to him. And some of it's kind of talking shit, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to, if you want to know, I'm going to tell you. And so everyone knows something about somebody that's a little fucked up. So I'm wondering if she could do some investigative reporting to the relatives and see, like, should I?
But I also don't know, why would you want to know more than what somebody told you? Meaning I always think about, like, the old thing in the analog days was, if I die, go and get my porn out of my apartment before my mom goes there.
Right, you don't want to see that.
So
that's not what they want to see, though.
Right, but if they don't have a secret family, what do you want to know? I think you should just be the dead person should be allowed to obviously rest in power, and if they're a great justice, rest in prudence.
I wasn't scared because he did a thing before.
Yeah, he did a little whimper. Yeah, but I think that you should be able to. I don't know. I just think whatever someone told you that's what they wanted you to know.
Question. Your mom was like, I found your father's diary.
Yeah.
Do you want to see it? You would see it. Come on.
No, because I think I heard, like, one of my uncles wrote a book.
On your dad?
No, not on my dad, just about his life. And there was some allusion to maybe my dad got molested or something. But it's vague, and I don't know. That's actually happened, but it's also proverbially, what good does that do me?
Yeah.
To know that.
But what if you read it and he was really silly and funny in it, and you're like,
then that
Jesus
would be
Christ.
fake. Well, I remember, like, it's just what a narcissist would do, but I remember the women who worked in my dad's department. One of them was saying, like, your dad buys us candy, and we were like, what the fuck? Like, candy?
Yeah.
He brings us candy. What the fuck out? He didn't bring us candy. So
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's leave well enough alone, and unless I think Dan Soder or Joe DeRosa is a comic.
Yeah.
Who did a joke about he's adopted, and somebody was like, don't you want to find your real parents? And he's like, no, they were pretty clear. That's kind of how I feel with people. It's like,
funny.
whatever I want to know, I'll take your word for it. If there's a side scandal, then whatever. We can talk about that later. But
Goodbye. You've got mail.
big fan of the show. Don't use my name.
Okay.
If you use this, just
Question.
call me a realistic alias like Rudiger or Bruce. All right.
Okay.
I find your thought. That's what they call a swing and a miss. I find your thoughts on alcoholism and codependency insightful. I left my alcoholic wife earlier this summer, no kids, after years of living with and obsessing on her disease. I'm a big free hairy bird now. I'm in therapy and I've gotten into some dating apps. Without digressing too far, I moved 30 minutes away, but I regularly work out of the home office at the house from whence I fled while she's at work because we have a dog together. I plan to move further away in the spring and eventually divorce, but one step at a time. I just got to put that dog to sleep. I'm kidding. He didn't write that. I bring that up because I'm wondering how much all of this I should divulge to my Bumble matches. I'd ideally like to be totally honest because otherwise it can turn George Costanza pretty quickly. On the other hand, I don't know many people in these parts and legit want to hang with new faces and maybe obtain sexual release along the way. Don't say sexual release. I fear giving them the long lowdown that I'm separated, but it was a long time coming and she has a disease and I'll never go back will preclude any fruitful progress. What say you, beautiful babies? Divulge or occlude? It's big fucking words this guy's got. Thanks to Binky Got Bands and Ghostface Neela for the hours of hilarious insight. Being married, I think you gotta. Oops. That feels like a fifth date divulgence.
Wait, I don't know.
First of all, I would say don't go to the house to work there.
Yeah.
The work from home thing, like I guess to see the dog, see him and bounce, because she's gonna come home and she's gonna have a dude with her and he's gonna have a gun. I'm kidding. I just don't see any good coming from that.
No.
Now, I don't know. You don't want it. When you bring it up, it's an hour conversation on the date.
It's gotta be. I'd say just when you determine you actually really like this person and you want to keep hanging out with them. Maybe, yeah.
But
before you have sex,
if he says I lived in Omaha, but I don't live there anymore, and she goes, "Why'd you move?" What does he say? Just kind of fudge it. I had a roommate.
I don't know.
I know. I think fifth date it and preface it with, we can talk as much or as little about this as you want.
Right.
It seems on paper it's a big deal, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And the thing that's relevant about it, whether you realize it or not, and whether the new date woman realizes it or not, is the psychology of a person who would be with an alcoholic for a long time.
Right. That's
more relevant than the living situations, I think.
Yeah. I do feel like this could go either way. Someone might not like this.
What about it?
Well, just I'm just wondering what is the appropriate time to disclose it and someone not be a little like, you said fifth date.
Yeah.
Why?
Date 1, it's like small talky. Date 2
Right.
is what do you do? Date 3, you fuck her. You get sexual release. Yeah, I don't know. There is no right answer. Now, having said all that, if the person doesn't like it, it wasn't meant to be in the first place. So
no, what if it was meant to be and that this is weird?
Then it wasn't meant to be. Like, when should I have said? If someone can't do the math that we're doing right now, this crippling math, then fuck them.
Yeah.
They're a clown.
He's free. He's not cheating on her. I mean, that should be the most important thing. He's not doing anything dubious.
Yeah, like you can call her. She's gonna be drunk. But if you this woman exists and
goodbye,
et cetera, et cetera.
You've
Hi,
got
Neal
mail.
and Bianca, name misspelled, even though it's on the artwork and the name of the podcast and the email address. I have some questions about aging, specifically for Neal.
Hey.
In the past, Neal misspelled again. She spelled it right, then she went back to wrong spelling. Has mentioned the ages of women he's dated recently, from as young as mid-20s to as old as late 30s. He's also made derogatory comments about menopausal women.
Yep.
Doesn't sound like me. Only if they're fat. My questions for Neal are: would you date a woman your own age? And 2, assuming the woman is in good shape, healthy, and takes care of herself, do you prefer women who age gracefully or women who do typical LA things to keep themselves looking unnaturally young, Botox, etc.? I'm not asking Bianca to weigh in on this because she's melanated and ageless. She could be 20 or 50. She's 50. I have no idea, and I imagine she will look like that until she dies. Congrats, Bianca.
Thank you.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
Sincerely, a middle-aged white woman. Lot here.
Lot to unpack.
Of course, I would date a woman my own age. Assuming that the woman's in good shape, healthy, takes care of herself. Do you prefer a woman who ages gracefully or a woman who does typical LA things to keep themselves unnaturally young? Here's the thing about what LA does to you. Well, there's a couple things here. Men are not observant. So if a woman's had Botox, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I have no fucking idea. I truly have not. Like, people go, you ever, as a girl, you probably don't, but you ever watch, as a guy, you'll watch TV or look at somebody online and the girl will be like, she did this. She gets like the John Madden telestrator of like, no, she had this done. And this is a tummy tuck.
Right.
I know nothing. The lip plumpers gross me out.
Looks a little weird.
And they always, the dead giveaway for lip plumpers, upper lip sweat. They're like, they get mustache line sweat and it's almost across the board. And I told this to somebody the other day and they go, well, they should get Botox to get, and I was like, okay,
Great.
So now, having said that, not a fan of gray hair. I hope
like the stragglies or the whole gray?
I
One or
don't
two.
want to be reminded of death. That goes for me.
You say that a lot.
And because I believe it, Bianca. Because I really don't.
It's just like, what? Reminded of
Don't
death?
want to be reminded of death. Don't want to be reminded of time passing. Don't want to be reminded of. It's why I love Vegas. Guys, the biggest casualty of this whole COVID thing is that I can't go to Vegas and go to places where there's no windows and they pump the air in and Shania Twain's playing. I don't. If a woman dyed her hair until the day she died, I would have no problem with that. And got some kind of, if she wanted to get Botox, knock yourself out. Yeah. Not a sagging skin fan. I don't know how you'd stop that. This is, by the way, I'm doing okay now, but who fucking knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
She didn't want my input.
Give it. It's not her show.
I don't know. I think it would be nice to see you with an older lady. I'm gonna be honest.
Why? I don't know why women say shit. Like, it'd be nice.
What's wrong with that?
I had a joke.
What's wrong with that?
I had a joke with a woman 20 years ago who was in comedy and with Amy Poehler. So she would go like, why don't you date a girl in comedy?
Ugh,
and I was like, I don't know. And then there was a YouTube video of a girl beatboxing, and I forwarded to Poehler, and I go, why don't I date a beatboxer? Wouldn't that be nice if I dated a fucking beatbox? Why women want to see you with blank? It's all about your belief system.
I'm under attack.
It's your belief system. How can I pick who I pick?
You can.
I wish, who you should, I'd like you to date a guy who's into horses.
First of all, breathe. I'm just saying that why you said I have no problem dating a woman my own age. And I'm like, that would be nice as you. You motherfucker.
No, you were picturing.
What? What do you mean?
I was picturing. You were going older. You wanted you wanted me to date.
I said it'd be nice to date a woman your own age.
You want to see me with Jane Goodall.
Again, you are the woman
you want a
you don't want to
long,
date.
gray-haired,
I
ghost
said
looking.
what I didn't say.
One of these ghost hoes out here.
Yes, dear. Go ahead.
One of these apparitions.
Thank you. I'm going to read the last one.
Goodbye. You've got mail.
Hey, Neal and Bianca, long-time listener, first-time emailer. A couple of weeks ago, I was trying to convince my Hispanic grandma that Trump does not care and has no interest in her well-being. She's a lifelong Republican and says that she would vote for Trump again because of his platform, not because of who he is as a person. There's a lot more fucked up info about that, but back to my point. I asked her, as a woman of color, why would she vote for a man who most likely wouldn't care about who would most likely only care about white women if he cared about women at all? To this, my Mexican, Latina-looking grandmother responded. Latinx-looking grandmother responded, I'm a white lady. What do you mean?
Oh, God.
My grandma has a half Italian mother. Maybe that's why she thinks she's white. She is definitely a brown lady. My questions are, do you think Hispanics are white?
No. Let's end the show right there.
Stop. Do you think Hispanics are white? How do I tell her that she is not white? And is being a person of color a mindset? Thanks. A fucking confused granddaughter.
I have a real easy test.
What?
Take her to a Mexican restaurant. If the staff speaks her in Spanish, there
ding,
you go.
Ding, 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 ding.
There you go.
You're Mexican.
Yes.
Well, there, the whole, I don't know how much time we have to unpack the Latin community's deep-seated issues with itself.
That's why you're here.
Representing. There's a lot of color issues in the Latin community. A lot of people, I remember there was a Latin cop. Something happened. Anyways,
Chips from Chips.
No, not, what's his name?
Michael Pena is the new one. Eric Estrada.
Something happened. He fudged up somehow, this cop, and someone said a white passing Hispanic cop, and everyone was like, what? White passing? What does that mean? So I think there are a lot of Latin people who really do consider themselves not white. I mean, I've never heard that, but not brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is one of these things where there are very few things that I feel unqualified to talk about.
Oh.
I am a late arriving instant expert, Will. Will. Will, I don't need you to Google now. Now I need songs.
Now you listen here.
Googling.
You just wait a goddamn minute now.
What is he Googling?
Well, in
Who
my
is
opinion-
Hispanic?
Do you want to know what I think?
That's bangs. That's some bangs.
There's white Hispanic. Also, Hispanic is a made-up word. think it's just
The real word's
just-
Latinx. I don't know what you do.
keeping
I
it
don't. That's one of those
real.
things where you don't. I always hear that. I've heard the stereotype that no one's more racist than a immigrant from that country. Like, shut the borders down. So that just seems like from the same category as this. I don't. If she thinks she's white, what do you
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
There's
she's
no
gonna
mirrors in her house.
Yeah, she'll if she's grandma age, so she's over. Well, she's Latino, so their
She's
grandma's.
55.
Yeah, I was gonna say 41.
That's funnier.
She's Latinx, so she's 41-year-old grandma, and she's gonna. If she hasn't figured it out by now, she's either delusional, or people treat her like a white person.
Should we just let's just come up with experiments. Like, okay, if you're white, then
Yeah, go to the
Go.
go to a Mexican restaurant and not like El Pollo Loco.
Yeah, or Baja Fresh.
Yeah, don't please.
Disgusting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Carry around a gun. See how white you are.
Yeah, go to
What's a white thing?
Home Depot, see if you can get a job. Go to the parking lot. They go, why would I hire a white lady? I'm not planning a party. I'm not. I don't need an event planner. Just put yourself in stereotypical Latinx situations. Sometimes Latinx feels very racist, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it's weird, but we're gonna go with it.
We're gonna go with
'cause
it. We're gonna
we
ride it. I
invented
actually
Neal
knew. I
invented
didn't
it.
want to say 41-year-old Latinx because in that joke, the first part of it
Yeah.
was so racist. I didn't want to double down.
Yeah, don't ruin Latinx.
Yeah, I know. I don't. I won't. And I won't.
I don't.
And I shan't.
And I won't.
Yes. Put yourself in. Go to. I'm only just gonna get more racist.
Yeah, I know. I'm
It's
like,
after
stop,
2
yeah.
hours. You know how we get after 2 hours.
do,
We
we do.
can't even. It's not even clever racism. It's just clan
Late.
meeting level.
Wait, we're late for our
But
meeting.
Bianca,
Yes.
we don't have to take this shit, and we're not gonna.
Okay.
Have a great week, motherfuckers.
Moving on,
We'll see you back.
Will.
moving on.
Goodbye.
Tell me how you feel.